From now on, we will study about the object of the clause. The transitivity of a verb to describe a subject in a clause is one of the traits of a verb to determine whether the experience, condition, or action indicated by the definition of the verb is conveyed to an object or not. The object of a transitive verb can be singular or plural, and the verb without the transitivity does not convey the definition of the verb to an object, so we can also consider that there cannot be an object in a statement. There is the fifth clause. I tell you a story. The action indicated by the transitive verb tell of the speaker is conveyed to the listeners as the indirect object with the direct object a story. The speaker describes the definition of the transitive verb tell to the indirect object with the direct object, a story. So we can see that there are two objects, the indirect object and the direct object. The indirect object, who are the listeners, receive the definition of the transitive verb tell and the direct object of story from the speaker. The speaker who applies the intransitive verb speak only focuses on the subject who actualizes the definition of the intransitive verb speak. The speaker who applies the transitive verb focuses on the subject to an object. And the speaker who applies the transitive verb tell focuses on the subject and the direct object that is conveyed to the indirect object. So we can consider that the speaker enlarges the focus from the subject to an object, the subject, a direct object, and an indirect object with the application of the intransitive verb speak, the transitive verb and the transitive verb tell. The speaker describes the subject with the transitive verb tell to reveal the fact that the speaker focuses on the procedure, that the action indicated by the transitive verb tell and the direct object are conveyed from the subject, the speaker, and the indirect object, who are the listeners. We will study about the transitivity of a verb. According to the application of the verb speak, say, or tell, whose range of the transition that the definition delivers is deviated, the speaker can reveal the focus on the range that the definition of the verb is to be. From now on, we will study about the complement. There are two sorts of the complement, the subjective complement and the objective complement. The complement to define or describe the subject is the subjective complement. the subjective complement defines what or who the subject is, or describes how the condition of the subject is. There are two clauses. The sixth clause is this: we are students. The seventh clause is this: you look happy. Let's study about the sixth clause. The indicative word student. To define the subject, we, including the speaker, is the subjective complement. We can see that the definition of the be-verb is to define the subject, who are the subject, including the speaker. We can also understand that the definition of the be-verb to describe the existence of the subject is differentiated with the primary definition. So we can understand that the subject and the subjective complement are equivalent subjects. The primary definition of the be-verb to describe the existence of the subject. So can we the be-verb into the general verb exists and the preposition as, because the subject of the preposition as and the object of the preposition as are equivalent to define a subject. So we can accept that the definition of the be-verb contains a trait as an adverb. In this clause, we can understand that the definition of the preposition as is integrated with the definition of the general verb exists into a word of be-verb, or we can accept that the definition of the be-verb can be changed because the be-verb contains the trait as an adverb. We can understand this from the change of the definition of the be-verb. From this definition of the be-verb, we can understand that the subjective complement, that is on indication, applied to reveal the condition of the subject with the definition of the be-verb are. And we can also understand that the complement to define a subject or an object with an indication is also accepted as a condition of the subject or object.